Welcome back, and definitely an inspirational topic today about giving back. And no better way than speaking to AMA, a South African based humanitarian organization which works closely with refugee children in the camps of Lebanon and leading a unique experience during August. So, let me tell you a little bit about it. They're a group of refugee children supported by the organization, have arrived in South Africa and touring the country over the next 3 weeks, raising awareness and funds for AMA's Aman School in Lebanon. And no better person to speak to on the line than Brother Hussein Chunara. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ست لطيفة، شكرا for having us at Salam Media.
Shukran for and joining us today. It's always a pleasure speaking to you about enticing people into giving back in many directions. And today we're talking about a very interesting topic: the one child, one dream scenario, and an evening of angelic sound. Talk to us about the events taking place. We know that some of the kids have arrived in South Africa already for this particular event, and it's taking place in, as you said earlier, in many different areas of the country. But talk to us about the whole ideology behind it. I want people to see the essence of this particular thing. I mean, education is something that nobody can take away from you. It's one of the best gifts that you can actually give to somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the One Child, One Dream movement, the 10 children from the second and third camps who attend the African Muslims Agency's Amar School in Lebanon. In South Africa, this is the first time ever. Alhamdulillah, these children are in South Africa. They've basically, from a refugee status, they now have documents in their name. They define themselves. And these children from as young as 5 and 6 years old to 16, 17 years old are in South Africa, touring South Africa for the main purpose of raising awareness and funds for the hundreds more children who are back in Lebanon who require sponsorship for education. Because we talk about education, our mind to talk about, Mama, I think about education as someone going to school and learning a subject. For these kids, it is so much more than just attending a building to learn a subject. It is life changing, not only for themselves, but for their families. Because these children live there in the camps, live in the refugee camps, live every single day walking around the campsite with the same dreams and goals like our children. But there's no platform of opportunity to achieve it. So when we say sponsor a child, we're actually saying sponsor a dream, not only for the child, but sponsor the dreams of that family, for the entire refugee camp. It can make a difference not for now, but for years to come. And for those who participate, imagine the Sarah Jari attached to that. To provide
Most
opportunity to
definitely.
a refugee child, to an orphan child. Imagine that reward. We're only seeking Allah's blessings and opportunities. If you're listening to Salam Media right now, it's because of Allah's plan is giving us the opportunity to benefit from Him, from His infinite blessings by sponsoring education towards an orphan child, a refugee child, a child in need. And imagine their dua for you. So the One Child, One Dream tour is basically a One Child, One Dream movement. We invite you to participate in. And whether you support one child for 16,000 rand per year, any amount towards that, Allah knows your need and imagine the rewards for you. So this momentum around the country, we want to, as of course, the children right now are at a high school in the Western Cape, and since they landed, when they go to school and other engagements, meeting people. And you're listening to this right now, I would encourage you, whichever area or city that you're in, try and get to that event. It might be sold out in the area that you're based in, but I would encourage, it doesn't stop you. You're really ways to help people and to help children. And I would encourage you to donate towards sponsoring children's education in refugee camps, inshallah.
That's the best way you could have said it, Brother Hafiz Junara. The thing is, Brother Hussein, I think one of the most important things that we tend to forget is when we're sponsoring this particular children, and as you were saying earlier, it's about and you were saying it's long term because when we educate a child, it's about empowerment. We've created a long term version of empowerment because that child will then grow into an empowered adult who in turn will be able to support their family in many directions. And talking about the Aman school, it's such a groundbreaking initiative. I mean, because the curriculum and school program is tailored to the needs of the refugee children from different backgrounds that helps them to adapt to formal schooling environments, which, of course, we know they've never encountered before and they're not really used to.
Absolutely. A mass school provides formal education from kindergarten to grade 9. It takes care of a child's tuition needs, of course, as well as provides them with uniform, stationery, food, transportation. Basically giving them the opportunity to progress in life and giving them that set for themselves, inshallah, inshallah.
And talk to us about the experiences people can encounter. I mean, because the thing is, I think it's important for people to understand the importance of attending an evening of angelic sound. And we know it's kick-starting in Cape Town on the 5th of August. So talk to us a little bit about that.
That's happening tomorrow also live on Salah Media, the Angelic Sound, the evening of Angelic Sound. Where these refugee, we call them refugee kids, but these kids are our kids. And they, of course, they happy, they recite extra Quran, they recite the truth, and they'll be reciting tomorrow in Cape Town, College Auditorium. It's an also that event, and that's happening tomorrow evening in Cape Town. And then, of course, on to Port Elizabeth for Sunday. So we're having a picnic at one of the farms in Port Elizabeth, and then on
Hmm.
to Newcastle, Johannesburg, and Durban. I would encourage you listening to Sarah Media right now. Sarah Media bring this to you live at every event. I would encourage you know that please, please,
Hmm.
please get your ticket information, picnic baskets, get your children, get your family involved, through participating in attending, but more importantly, to demonstrate for roads providing children with education in Lebanon, inshallah.
Inshallah, I mean, and it's about giving back that dignity and giving them that empowerment that they're looking for. Because, as we know, refugee children cannot normally access schools due to their status and end up trapped in the vicious cycle of poverty. And I think that's what people need to understand is by supporting this particular event and initiative, is taking people, firstly, out of that poverty stricken situation they're in, empowering them and giving them back their dignity.
And I don't know how to quantify those words. Like, we so dignity. How do we quantify and put a value to that? When you take a child who's 6 and who's green in a refugee camp, if you ask our child, if you ever ask my child, what's your dream? Or what's your goal? What do you want? They'll talk about the next, PlayStation. They'll talk about, I want to be a football player. You ask a child, one of the girls is with us, you ask her, what's her dream? And she'll tell you, I just want peanuts. If I can just get a
Sure.
peanut. So
Mm.
conceptualizing the difference that these children, what their dreams. And of course, some of the dreams that we keep is to be a pilot. Imagine the child's dream is to be a pilot, he just to see an aeroplane. And over the past few days, been able to travel from Lebanon to South Africa. Imagine imagine how that dream is being fueled, and that's
Mm.
because of support. So we say 650 children through a sponsorship. It is, we cannot undermention this is massive to
Um,
those kids.
Hafiz, can I ask you to just move around a little bit because the line is not so clear?
No worries, can you hear me?
No, I think it's getting worse. Is it a bit better now? Can you talk to us? Okay. So the only way, let's talk about the crucialness of this and the importance of people supporting this particular initiative. The only way to ensure a long-term solution is to educate refugee children and provide that opportunity for them to become employable and entrepreneurial minds. And I think that's what's important, Hafiz Chinara. Brother Hafiz
Definitely.
Hussein, are you still on the line?
Some of these, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Sister Little?
Apologies, I think the line is rather bad, but we're trying to get the gist of what you're having to say.
I can no problem. Of course, absolutely. It's to fulfill a dream. One of these kids is to be a photographer and full support, be able to join our team in fulfilling their dream of being a photographer. Imagine this boy who's now want to be a photographer, are able to feed his family going through it. He's an orphan child, him and his sister. So definitely, we're talking about long-term sustainability. We're talking about empowerment. We're talking about not changing only the child's life, but we're talking about changing the lives of their family. And imagine 650 families. Imagine
Mm.
just to change their future, the trajectory of their future. Inshallah. So when we
Ameen.
say sponsor a dream, sponsor child education, it is long term and it is yes, it's the tangibles which you can see the subject and what they learn and what they get, but it's beyond that. It's beyond the feeling. It is the long term sustainability and the changing of a nation, inshallah.
Most definitely. And what we're urging our communities and all the people out there is to actually support this initiative, to be able to change the narrative of these children and create, should we say, again, once again, empowered, holistic individuals that can go out there and give their families the dignity and the empowerment that is so very badly needed in Lebanon.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would encourage you, look at your child, you do whatever it takes for your child. These are our children. You're listening to Salam Media now. Go to African Muslim Agency's website, connect with any of our officers. For 16,000 rand, you can do a child sponsorship of education for a year. And of course, we'll give you the feedback and the profile of the child. We can do it monthly if you want. Like I
Mm.
said, the area amount. They've got people phone us and say, click the link in my lead, in my family. For somebody who starts 10 for their reward. There's many opportunities you have at disposal to support children with education right now. This is the first time ever in South Africa, alhamdulillah, and the one child Mahari movement is getting momentum around South Africa. We're encouraging you, we're pleading with you to donate your support and join us as we empower 650 children's lives from the refugee camps, inshallah.
Wow, that's amazing. And as we're going to urge our viewers out there and our listeners to please actually join in this initiative to be able to empower and change the narrative. And we're going to read out quickly the dates. So in Cape Town, it's happening tomorrow evening, the 5th of August, 6:30 p.m. at the Islamia Auditorium and Lansdowne. Do go there and help assist making a change. Followed by that, they're going to be visiting PE, Newcastle, Johannesburg, and Durban. So what we're saying is, Brother Hussein Chinara, can you please just give us your email, your addresses, your social media addresses, so that people can actually get onto the sites and go and look at that and decide which event they'd like to attend and, of course, support.
Absolutely. All details are on the website. All details are on social media pages, Instagram at Africa Muslims Agency. Also, you'll be getting live coverage throughout the tour from the different areas. Currently in Cape Town, moving over to PE this weekend. So find on the social media pages the area that the details of the event in your area, inshallah, and join us and be part of fueling children's dreams from refugee camps, inshallah.
Mean, and that's what we're hoping that will take place. That we would get most South Africans involved in this event to be able to create a major difference to the Amman School, and of course assisting in creating a better version for these children to be able to have a better quality of life, so that they in turn can help their parents and their families have the better quality of life as well. So that's what it's about. It's about education, empowerment, upliftment, and creating that sustainability. So, Jazakallah so much for joining us. What last message would you like to leave us?
I mean, it's up to us, social media, for the opportunity of all those listening and relating. Allah accept your niyyah. Allah accept your dream in your heart, your true, your calling,
Amin.
your niyyah. May it be the process of many children's dreams of you, inshallah.
Amin. And Jazakallah so much for joining us. And as I said once before, I'm hoping that many people can get involved in this upliftment initiative, because I think it's a phenomenal one. And we see the essence in what you're doing through education. So, shukran for joining us on the show today to be able to entice people into better spaces and places. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And that was Brother Hafiz Hussein Shunara, of course, from Africa Muslims Agency, talking about the One Child, One Dream initiative taking place. The kids are around in Cape Town already. If you're in the Cape Town area, do go and support this amazing initiative to be able to move people and uplift them in many directions. From myself and the team, we want to thank you so much for joining us on a very uplifting, should we say, show today with in many directions. It's about changing those narratives, and that's exactly what we're talking about. So get involved in that and do make those changes, not just for yourself, for those around you as well. From myself and the team, Jazakallah so much. Thank you. Have a lovely one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وظننت أنا أني بذلك